Bedtime. It can be one of the hardest parts of the whole day. And man, I did so many bedtime moments that were so counterproductive. I'd be patient and patient and patient, and then I'd lose it and yell, just go to bed, which no one can fall asleep when someone's yelling at you like that. So silly, didn't work. So, what are some things you can do? Well, first of all, know that falling asleep, going from awake and engaged in the world to turning everything off, this is a huge exercise that requires tons of self-regulation. So when kids are really little, it's really hard for them to do that, and they're going to need our support to do it. So here are some really practical things you can do to help your kid get to sleep without so much battle. First of all, have a fair expectation. Know that some nights it's going to take some time, that at different phases of your child's childhood, it's going to take a while. Okay. So this is important. All right. Coming from Dr. Jamie Chavez, who is an occupational therapist who works with me at the Center for Connection, she had some great suggestions. One, make sure your kid's big meal is not too close to bedtime. Digestion activates our system. So make sure they have time to digest their big meal. It's okay to have snacks and all of that. Great. But the big meal should come at least a couple hours before bedtime. She also suggested rough and tumble, big physical play for about 30 to 40 minutes, if possible, before you start the bedtime routine. I know it seems counterintuitive. You'd think, gosh, let's not get them all revved up, but it actually helps them relax their muscles, get all of that out so that they can have an easier transition. She had one other suggestion that I just love, and that is that we pick the least preferred task and do it first. So if your kid hates brushing their teeth, have them brush their teeth first, so that they have time to recover and get back into a regulated, calm state as you read stories and walk through the other things. If getting the pajamas on is the worst, do that first, and then brush teeth and do all those things. So really kind of pick that least preferred task at the beginning when your child is at their best capacity and you are at your best capacity. Now, we can think about ways to help turn down the volume on our child's nervous system arousal and all that energy that they have. One is think about their senses. Sounds, smells, touch. So some kids love like heavier blankets on their body. Some kids like dimmer lights. Some kids love the scent of lavender, and it really helps them calm down. But we really want to be thinking about ways we can turn their volume down on their sort of energy. Another way we can do that is by reading stories. And reading, and start out with the exciting books with all the fun voices at the beginning, get the kind of boring, slow pace ones toward the end. If we help our kids breathe in a way that helps activate their parasympathetic branch of their nervous system, then they will be able to fall asleep much more quickly. And the best way to do that is by having an inhale that's shorter than our exhale. So have them breathing in for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 8, or 5 and 7, or whatever works for your kid. But really taking some of those deep exhales will help regulate their nervous system and get them calm again. Besides stories, we can also listen to guided meditations. There are all kinds of free ones on the web through lots of apps. There are like traveling hot air balloons that look over the landscape that are kind of boring enough, but interesting enough that they'll stay engaged, but they'll fall asleep. So these are some, other ways that we can be focusing on it. The other thing we can do is help our child get really comfy and cozy. And not just in terms of their physical space and their jammies and all of that, but by the way that we're responding. When we make bedtime really unpleasant, their brains are like, that's unpleasant, let's avoid it. So we want sleep to have really positive, good associations. So keep that in mind as you're figuring all of this out over time. And then just know that these little phases, your kid's going to need different things at different times. Keep making adjustments. As your kid gets older, you can even engage them, like what order should we do things, and how much time should we spend on these things, and have them be part of the process. And those are all really important tools to helping our kids learn about kind of regulating themselves, having their own routines and all of that as they get older. I hope these are some helpful tips. Of course, there's so many more things we can try, but we can only try a few things at once. So hopefully these are helpful tips in getting your little one to bed sooner than later so that you can get some rest too.